bloody minutes out of your whole 24 hours. I mean, why do we find it so hard? Why do we find it so difficult to do stuff just for us?
For years, I was caught up in my job, my marriage, and keeping everyone else afloat. I forgot what made me me. Then I picked up a coloured pencil and remembered how much I used to love drawing. That moment showed me that creativity could be a portal freeing up space in my mind, space that wasn't filled with stress or worry. And in that space came a reset. I started to build new habits and little rituals. I realised I mattered too. I began creating time for myself, putting myself first instead of always last. That was the start of my creative comeback. And bit by bit, life lit up again. That's what living in full colour really is. Having the courage to put yourself back in the picture, to feel brighter, braver and more alive. And that's what this podcast is here for, to help you find your spark and live in full colour too.
I want to talk to you about making space for yourself, making time for yourself without feeling guilty. So this is really, really important. And I think there are an awful lot of us, me included, not so much now because I've really worked on myself and created really good new habits. But I feel there are so many of us who are or were doing everything for everybody else and nothing for ourselves and making excuses. And I get a lot of this when people when people join me for my teaching and my membership, and I get a lot of comments from people saying, I just don't have time. It's really sad. I'd love to do more creativity. I'd love to do more drawing, but I just don't have time. And I completely get it. However, it is an excuse. And I really do like to sort of suggest to people that instead of making an excuse of I haven't got time, actually reframing it as it's just not a priority right now. And that is fine. That is absolutely fine. Not doing creativity because you're looking after your family and you're working full time and you've got dogs and you've got horses and you've got, all of the other stuff that you've got going. I mean, yeah, you don't have time, absolutely, but you are putting other things above the creativity. And there are points in your life where that's a necessity, absolutely. But what my feeling is that not sometimes, all of the time, we have to recognize that, and I think this is particularly women, but I don't really want to generalize, but I do think it is particularly women. I think women are, especially women with families, we get into this sort of, and I was going to say rut, but I don't think rut's a good word at all. We just get into this sort of way of living where everybody else comes before us. And then when we take any time out just for us, we feel really guilty. I used to feel so guilty about sitting down, and I did it anyway, but I would feel really guilty about sitting down and drawing to the point where I used to do it where everybody'd gone to bed. I used to feel, I tell you this, and this is kind of part and parcel of how my marriage ended up. And I have to say, my marriage was very happy to begin with. And it was just when, depression kind of set in that it all just went a bit, very, very much went pear-shaped. But I love social media. I really like social media. I like going on it. I like chatting on it. I like seeing what people are doing. Even now, I love social media. I mean, give me a phone and a TikTok account. That is me. That is me for the rest of the day. Bloody love it. And it makes me really happy. I know it's kind of the scroll of doom or whatever, and it's like brain rot, but sometimes I need it. Sometimes I think my ADHD brain just really needs that, just like, whoa. And laughing, it makes me laugh so much. Anyway, so I've always loved social media. So I would sit and I'd have a cup of coffee and I'd sit at my kitchen table and I'd be on my phone and I'd be like, we didn't have TikTok back then. It's like 10 years ago. And then I'd hear my husband walk in through the door and I would literally hide my phone and get up and start cooking. I felt so guilty, not start cooking, but start to pretend to do something wifey. I don't know. But I felt so guilty about having a moment to myself that I hid it. I hid the phone. I mean, there was some other bits to that as well. But I mean, how awful is that? And I'm sure other people can relate as well. 5 minutes to myself. And back in those days, it was 5 minutes. It wasn't 4 hours on TikTok like I sometimes do. But I'm on my own now, so I can do what the hell I like. But having that moment to yourself is so important. It's so important. Literally 5 minutes is all you need for just something for you. Going out in the country, I mean, going out for walks and stuff. And quite frankly, I thought that my days of going out for walking had gone because I got to a very heavy weight. I was 18.5 stone and my hips were terrible. My knees were terrible. My knees kept on going. And I was just like, that's it for me. I can't do this. And also my back was hurting and all of that kind of thing. And then as soon as I started to take care of myself and I started to lose weight and started to actually eat things that were sensible and started to exercise more, I realized that, I bloody love walking. It's very much part of me. Movement is very much part of me. And it's really, really important. And I need to prioritize that. I need to prioritize exercise and movement and not see it as a horrible thing. So my mindset has completely changed on that. It's so important to do something. But how do you get over the guilt? How do you get over that? Oh God, I'm doing something for me. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And I think a lot of it is that people pleasing thing. I think so many of us are people pleasers and we just want people to love us, like us, whatever. And there's almost like this thing within us that is, for somebody to like me, I need to do this stuff for them. I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you. And actually that you couldn't be further from the truth. I much prefer somebody to take responsibility for themselves and to actually respect who they were. We have to respect ourselves. And this is where all of the boundaries and everything come in, which of course I never had. And I found so difficult to build boundaries and stick by them. And I still find it really hard. But it takes little steps. And I know I was talking about it before, but the little steps to taking back time for yourself. What I'm not saying is, take 2 weeks and go off on holiday to Switzerland and have a lovely time sat in a spa. I am saying that actually. Do that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying take back 2 minutes, 10 minutes, just take back some time for yourself and do something that you really love, that brings you back to you. You're doing it because you love doing it. And yes, you will have those guilty feelings will come in. You'll be doing something, you'll start to enjoy it. Even sitting and drinking a flipping cup of coffee in the morning, sitting there, looking out of the window at your garden or the sea or wherever you are, sitting there with a cup of coffee, having thoughts. And it will feel delicious for, I don't know, 5 seconds. And then what will happen is your inner critic, your inner voice will pop in and go, who do you think you are sitting here, looking out of the window, drinking your coffee when there's this to do and that to do and the other 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 to do? What the hell do you think you do? And then the guilt creeps in. And then you're like, oh God, yeah. So, swig your coffee back and, off you go and start doing whatever it is that you're supposed to do. That's what we have to stop. That right there, like cross-eyed then, that's what we have to stop, because 5 minutes of you enjoying a coffee or a cup of tea or just a glass of water, 5 bloody minutes out of your whole 24 hours. I mean, why do we find it so hard? Why do we find it so difficult to do stuff just for us? And it's because we've been kind of, you know, taught that this is what we have to do. We have to get all of this stuff done, and and it doesn't do us any good at all. It doesn't do us any good. And actually, if you took 5 minutes out of every day and just did and was joyful in doing it for you and loved what you were doing, the next however many hours and minutes of your day are probably going to be way more productive because you've filled your cup up a little bit. That 5 minutes can then end up being 10 minutes, can then end up being half an hour, can then end up being an hour, can then end up being, going out for a walk for 2 hours every day, taking yourself off to do a yoga class, having a gorgeous bedtime routine. I have the most wonderful bedtime routine now. It's beautiful. And I love it. And it's around, I don't know, probably about an hour and a half long. If you told me a year ago that my bedtime routine would be about an hour and a half long, I'd be like, I haven't got time for that. An hour and a half to get ready for bed? No. Open the door, whip your clothes off. I don't know, on a good day, maybe wash your face, brush your teeth. On a bad day, just don't even bother. Just get into bed and go to sleep. That's it. Don't need to do any of that shit. Now, oh no, I've got the most amazing routine that I go through every single night. And it brings me back to me, and I love it. And I'm going to go through that. in the next episode. And that's me living in full color. That is how I have learned to live in full color, by doing, building up these tiny little moments of me doing something for me and building them up so that they become bigger and bigger and bigger. And do you know the amazing thing? That has happened? Bringing all of these lovely moments that are for me and that I bloody love, they've made me more productive. They've made me more productive, not less productive. They've made me more productive. I'm getting more done now whilst taking more time for me. How does that happen? And I don't feel guilty anymore. I've stopped feeling guilty because do you know what? This life that we have is short. It's so short. And I am not going to go out of this life, regretting the stuff that I haven't done and just thinking, oh yeah, well, do you know what? It was great because I got the washing done and I got the cleaning done and I've got this done and I've got that done and I've got the other done and I did this for this person, I did this for this. No, I'm not going out of this world thinking that. I'm going out thinking I have had the most amazing life. I have walked on the beach. I have had a gorgeous cup of coffee every morning. I've sung to my dogs when I get out of bed. I've told them how amazing they are. I've kissed all of their noses. I've chosen really colourful clothes, not designer ones. I think this cost about £7. You don't have to spend a ton of money to be happy. What you have to do is take notice. You have to take notice of what is going on around you in the present, and you have to live in the present and love what you're doing and love who you are. That's what you have to do. I think I've been very preachy on this episode, and I'm glad. I'm glad I've been preachy. I just feel so passionate that we're all just living our lives worrying about what other people are thinking. Worrying about, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do the other? And you know what? As long as you are respectful, I'm not going to say be kind, because to be honest, the whole be kind thing, there's so many people that spout this be kind and they're not kind. They're not kind at all. And they use it as like this sort of, I don't know, barrier, this sort of thing in front of them Like, oh, be kind. And then they're not kind. So I'm not using the be kind. I'm going to say be respectful. Be respectful for yourself. Be respectful for other people. Take some time to do the stuff that you want to do. 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. That's all it starts with. And then you can build it up and you can build it up. And I'll tell you about all of my little habits that have ended up being what has changed my life and what has enabled me to live in full colour.
That's enough waffling from me. Here's to living in full colour. I don't want you to miss this. My new app, Spark by Bonny Snowdon, is free to try now, but only until the 13th of January 2026. Spark is full of quick mindset resets, gentle meditations, creative prompts and little chats with me, all designed to help you feel more confident and inspired every single day. Just head to the App Store or Google Play, search for Spark by Bonny Snowdon and download it while the free trial is still available.